Welcome to KGXT, Gen X Talks podcast, live from Central California.
Making plans with the boys. I'm gonna hit the town. Yeah, I'm gonna make some noise. I'll push past the pain and my wounded pride. I'm gonna live it up. Yeah, stay out all night.
I thought we had an intro music.
Hello.
Hey.
What?
Well, I thought we had an intro music.
I did. I tried to put it back on there. I know why it didn't work last week, because I took and it says, would you like this to repeat every Thursday morning at 9:56 for 4 weeks? So I said yes, or 6 weeks. And it ran out. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I went back in. All right. And I put it back in there and I extended it for like 12 weeks, but it didn't even show up.
That was last week. Today's a new week.
Well, it's not like I went in there and did it again. I thought I fixed it last week.
I miss the intro music.
Okay, I'm sorry,
Fail.
Princess.
Big fail.
You can't function without your intro music. Trained broadcast
That gets me in the mood. That gets me ready.
I know it does. It does me too. I dig the music. It gets you focused, like you got a couple minutes. But
oh my gosh!
Welcome to the Gen X Talks podcast, broadcasting from the KGXT studios in the Southern Hemisphere, 200 feet below occupied California.
Southern
it's 10 o'clock.
Hemisphere.
Yeah.
We are not in the Southern Hemisphere.
We're in the Southern Hemisphere of North America.
What?
Yeah. It's 10 o'clock, Los Angeles time.
Oh my goodness.
It's the Southern Hemisphere of not the world. We're the Southern Hemisphere of North America. We're the Southern Hemisphere of California. Yeah.
What?
You can break things down. You got
I
to
don't understand what.
Ebb and flow, babe. Ebb and flow. Just go with it. It makes sense to everybody drinking right now. Everybody who's got a beer in their hand goes, I get it. That's it. That's all you need to know.
Wow. I can't believe it's Thursday and I can't believe it's 10 a.m.
I can't believe we're back from Nevada again. I'm getting lost on if someone says, where were you on Friday? I'm like, I don't know. Was I here? Was I there? I don't know.
Me too.
One more big trip of 2 trailers. And I really think we are going to be 90% moved out. The only thing left here will just be the essentials, that we need to, gotta have a chair to sit in. You gotta have stuff in the fridge. I mean, we can move out the fridge, the bed, a couple chairs, and a table. The very last thing we leave with, we'll be done.
So that means I get to stay in Nevada and you and Briggs can come here.
Probably the last trip. Yeah, we can just come down here and pick up, because all we have to do is fix things around the house.
So I don't have to be here for that.
Maybe not.
Maybe.
I might need you here for moral support.
No.
You don't know. I choose my moral support, not you. You don't get to decide what I need for moral support. I choose. Just saying, that's the way, it might go that way.
Okay. No.
So are you checking in with all of your places? Are we clear? Are we 5 by 5?
Anybody that's listening live during our live broadcast on KGXT radio, I am monitoring our Discord channel. Tell them how do you know what it is? The
Discord channel is discord.gg/Gen X Talks. It's just a bunch of chat rooms. It's free. One of the chat rooms is KGXT Live. And so when we broadcast live, sometimes people pop in and out of that room and they ask us questions. They can comment. The first thing they usually do is tell us if they can hear us. Are we coming across the butt clearly? And for those of you who don't know what the butt is, it's how we broadcast. We take our microphones, they go into a pod track, it goes into Streamlabs, and the butt, B-U-T-T, broadcast using this tool lets us go live on the radio. So you guys let us know if the butt is working. No pun intended.
Yes, there are people in the Discord in the KGXT live room right now making comments saying they hear us loud and clear.
So I got up this morning.
Yes, you did.
Your faithful husband. And I threw on my boots and ran out the door to get your coffee, because all of your coffee stuff is in Nevada.
That is correct.
It is at the Loop Studios. So I did jump in your stupid dogs. First of all, I went outside when the dogs barreled out the front door because they want to go. Anywhere I go now, they want to go with me.
They love the car.
They love the truck. Yeah. And I realized all of our vehicles are still hooked up to trailers because we didn't dump the trailers.
You yelled it to me going,
God damn it. So I did note, because we're selling our Yukon. We've got to sell the Yukon. It's time to let that one go. And it's always out of gas because we never use it. We've non-opted it. We don't, it's just sitting there. I thought, you know what? I'll just take that. I know it's 2 years out on registration. I know we've non-opted, but it needs to get gas in it anyway, because if people are going to come start it up and listen and drive around the block with it. So I drove that up to the gas station. 3 things happened when I was up there. One is a cop pulled up behind me in the gas station and looked at my tags, and I go, I'm selling it. I'm just putting gas in it. He just waved when he was on his way. The other thing was the dogs tried to jump out and go after some lady who had a dog.
Of course.
And I yelled at them. They stayed in. And then I couldn't get my credit card to work because I had it turned off. Had to go. So everyone's waiting for me.
I can't tell you how many times that has happened on this trip.
I know.
You've locked all the credit cards.
I do. I lock them all. I turn them on when I need them and turn them off when I'm done. And this morning I'm trying to log into the site on my phone, trying to figure out where it is, which card I'm using, unlock it, turn it back on, and there's people waiting, and it's just becoming a hassle. But I did it. Then I went over to get your coffee. And you have told me about it. I've never gotten one. Those, what are they, a puppuccino or something?
Puppuccinos.
And the girl goes, would you like a puppuccino for your puppy? And I go, oh, yeah. What is that again? 'Cause I've never gotten one.
It's just a cup of whipped cream,
Yeah.
but they call them a puppuccino. If you have a dog in your car, most of the coffee shops do it. Especially in the drive-thru. If you go through the drive-thru, they have little like shot glasses of whipped cream.
Yeah.
For the dog.
And I said, oh, yeah, my wife gets those. So I got them. Got one for each dog.
Oh, I bet you they went crazy because you weren't giving it.
They went ape shit. And I'm like, could you guys sit down? They did not want to wait till we got home. They were fucking with me the entire drive home, trying to get to the whipped cream. Like
your dog Riley loved it.
They knew it was theirs.
They know.
Oh, well, I'm never doing that again. Fuck that.
Why not?
Because I could not control the dogs, not spill the coffee, and
Oh,
drive
my
home. It was
goodness.
tough. It was not easy.
Oh, and then he calls me from the driveway going, I need help.
Okay, that is not.
I need help.
That is not what I said.
So I had to come. I'm the one that gave him the puppuccino.
Okay, listen, you're totally misleading the audience.
No,
here.
I'm not.
You know,
It's
I
the
got
truth.
friends listening, and they're
please.
you got friends that listen to this show. What happened
Do
was
you?
I
What,
do.
one?
No, maybe. So what?
One friend?
There's my guy. I pay him $10 a month to be my friend, and he is. So shut up. So I did get home, and I called you to come out because now I got to carry 2 puppuccinos, 2 cups of coffee, my wallet, my keys,
wow.
and the neighbor lady decided to go out and wash her car. And they didn't care about the puppuccinos anymore. They were at the window just growling like, let me out and I will go bite her. And I thought, oh, shit, I cannot control them and carry all this stuff. So I need you to come, because they were just going to go do it. They get confused on where our property line ends. And her car was in the street. They were beaming. They didn't care about anything but let me out. And I knew that'd be a problem.
Oh, my goodness.
But they followed you. They went.
Of course they do. They follow their mom.
Yeah, when you got them out, they followed you right up the driveway, which was good. So
And I gave them the puppuccinos right there in the driveway because
they'll make a mess in the house.
Yeah.
So you got your coffee. They got their puppuccinos. The Yukon got some gas, and everything was just peachy. Peachy, man.
peachy this morning.
This morning. Yeah, we're okay. I'm all right. Had my 5-hour energy. I'm feeling like I'm on top of the world. I'm doing good.
I'm not doing too bad today, considering I'm sore. The drive home was ooh.
Well, we took so long to get going yesterday. I know you say, well, I wasn't in the truck. I was sitting around the house waiting for you guys to do the trailer stuff.
That was probably the best thing I could have done.
Yeah, but it's still time that you're up and moving. You were lifting things. You were packing. When we go home from Nevada, the best thing for you, in my opinion, is to get everything done and roll you out of bed and go get in the truck. Because then you're not doing anything. I can't stop you from lifting and packing and sorting. And you know what? If we were leaving at 7 a.m. and I got you up at 6, during that hour, you'd hang a picture on the wall if I'd let you.
Hey, time is money, man.
I know, but I can't get you just to sit still for 10 minutes. So anyway, I do have a confession to make. This is on me. Ultimately, everything that goes wrong.
Whoa.
What?
Wait, there's something. What? Wait, you
Well,
did something wrong?
No, I didn't. But I'm accepting responsibility for it.
It's still the same thing.
I know, that's what I'm trying to relay
But
the
you
message.
can't say that. Try it. Wrong.
You guys did something wrong, but it's my
I
fault.
didn't do anything.
How do you know? You don't know what I'm going to say yet.
Wrong.
Okay.
You can say it.
When my wife screws something up around here, ultimately I'm in charge. It's I gotta pay for it. I gotta deal with it.
Wow.
When my kid does something wrong around here, ultimately I can't put it all off on him. I either didn't instruct him or I didn't check. It's on me. I get that. It's my responsibility. We drove all the way from Southern California to the middle of Nevada on a trailer that Briggs had hooked up. The ball was a 2-inch ball. The coupler was a 2 5/16 coupler. I have no idea how we made it that far without the trailer coming off the ball.
I completely agree. And I want to say something.
Other than we did have it loaded very correctly and there was a good amount of tongue weight on the ball, so it probably didn't come up too much.
I want to go on record saying that when we left our neighborhood to leave for Nevada, you came to a stop and it made a clunk sound. And I did say, I go, oh, what was that?
True, you did. But the trailer does do that. So it was...
I don't recall that ever happening. So
Well,
I did mention it to you,
Yeah.
and then it happened for a second time.
Yeah. Well, the trailer does that from time to time.
Don't roll your eyes at me.
Well, because you're not a trailer person. This is your first time, so I wouldn't expect you to know.
It's my first time being
Yeah.
in a truck with the trailer behind there. Absolutely not.
You have a job as a co-pilot. It's not to go around and follow up the checklist of the pilot. We clear on that?
No.
Good. Moving on.
Because I did mention it.
So we made it all the way up there. We took things apart, and I happened to look at the ball, and I just went, that doesn't look like it's the right size. And I wiped off the thin layer of grease on the sides and realized it was the wrong one. Now, for those of you that know, a 2 5/16 coupler, the ball doesn't just freely move in and out a 2-inch ball. It's not like it was an 1 7/8 ball. An 1 7/8 ball, pop right out. You can pull it out with your hand. A 2-inch ball does grab the coupler. It does grab the sides. It does, you couldn't pull it out with your hands very easily, but it could easily come off with the weight of the trailer popping up in the air, and it just never did. Which led me to going to the next morning when we left, and this is kind of teeing into some of my stuff, was that, we got up really early. I told you just to take a shower, get dressed, and relax. And Briggs and I went into town. We bought the right size ball, which I went in the auto parts store with him, and I got to teach him about the shank size.
Yes, you did.
Because he didn't understand that he goes, well, what if we don't get the right size threads? And I said, well, there's only basically 3 sizes. The three most common sizes was the best way to put that. Because if I say there's only 3 sizes, some asshole out there, there's like 19 different sizes. My truck has a 2 5/16 shank. Is
that what they sound like?
That's what idiots sound like when they try to correct you on the internet. It's like, well, in Australia they have, in Canada they have. Oh, shut the fuck up.
Just say in your world.
There's 3 common shank sizes on that.
In his world.
3/4, 1 inch, and 1 1/4, I think, are those sizes. And those, they cover mostly everything that you use for, residential, not commercial stuff. And so I just showed him, and he goes, well, how do you tell? And I said, well, hold them up side by side. It's obviously the small one's too small. It's obviously the big one's too big. And if it looks really close, that's going to be your shank size. They're not that far. So he got it real quick. So we bought the ball and then went to the Sun Valley Fox's house, and we tried to take off. The ball off the stinger, which some people call a drawbar, but nickname's kind of a stinger. The part that slides into your hitch. And we couldn't get the thing off there. Now, I didn't want to say anything to Sun Valley Fox. But he doesn't even have his vices bolted to a table.
Okay.
How do you use a vice?
Maybe he doesn't use it that often.
They're on there with C-clamps. He's got the vice.
They're portable.
Yeah, they're portable. We almost proved that. We almost portabled it from the bench to the ground. But even when we did get the right torque on it, where we weren't ripping it off his bench, and I backed it up with the pipe wrench, and he had a big old crescent wrench on. I mean, this crescent wrench was 3 feet long with a cheater bar. We still couldn't do it. We couldn't get that thing to move. That's going to take an air gun, a 3/4 inch air gun, to get it off. Luckily, Sun Valley Fox had a stinger with no ball, or a loose ball. We took it out, put ours in there, everything fit, and we were on our way. But
cool.
It still amazes me that we made it that far with that 2-inch ball. It should have popped off at some point.
So we have a comment in the Discord that says, what lesson did we learn from this? The comment is, balls need tight hitches. LOL.
I thought you said balls need tight bitches. I thought that's what you just said.
I said that's what you hoped I'd say.
That's almost what you said.
That's not what I said.
I just got it, but I made such a big deal about it. Briggs will double check that from now on. He won't make that mistake
Lesson learned.
again. He's come a long way. In certain areas, he's still a little bit lazy, but I'm telling you, in the last 6 weeks or so.
More of a man lately.
Yeah, he's coming along at a fast pace. I mean, his learning curve for things is huge.
Yes.
And I'm very impressed because a lot of it I'm not doing, he's doing.
Right.
I'm like, make a comment and he takes it to heart, because I used to say, it might be a good idea. Or I used to say, go roll up all the windows in the vehicles and lock them up.
Yes.
Bring me my keys. Give him an order. And he's like, he'll get to it at 2 a.m. when he's done playing video games or whatever. Now I just say things like, hey, you might want to double check and make sure all the vehicles are locked up and the windows are rolled up. And he stops what he's doing and he just goes and does it.
Doesn't it amaze you? You probably just burned your soul that you have to be a little nicer.
No.
Does it get in your chest all tightened up when you got to be a little nicer?
No.
You're like the Grinch.
No, I'm not.
Is your heart
know what?
warming up?
Oh my God. It's just, there is so much wrong with you. I don't even know where to
There is
begin.
nothing
There's a
wrong with
lot
me.
wrong with you.
Nope. I'm practically perfect in every way.
You are not Mary Poppins. You shut your hole. All right. Where are we at?
Man.
So the two infection balls. Anyway.
You have been moving so well lately. This move started off you dragging and hurting and struggling. And I was like, man, this is going to be a long haul. But you want to tell everyone about your weight loss and helping out the French guys?
She didn't say French fries. She didn't say
I said French guys.
Yeah.
Leading into,
Well,
let everybody think about that for a second.
the
French guys.
The whole, I guess the best way to describe it is because it's hard for me to walk. It's hard for me to stand. I used to just go from place to place. And what that means is that, I'd leave the studio, I'd walk in the house, you go to the bathroom, you get your keys, you grab your hat, you talk to a couple people getting stuff set, then you walk to the truck and get in the truck. Because I'm comfortable in my chair in the studio. I'm comfortable in my chair in the truck. But I can't stand. If you want to have a conversation, then I got to go sit down. I'm not just going to stand there in the entryway for 30 minutes and talk. I can't do it. The first things we moved up to Minden to the storage unit, and this was trips and trips ago, I had to pull out my wheelchair and just sit and point and go. And Sun Valley Fox was there. He was unloading to Briggs, and Briggs would huff it all in. And I'd say, this is where this goes. I couldn't do anything. I could not physically stand up long enough to be. I certainly couldn't pick up and carry things.
Right.
Okay, this last time I stood. We were there 2 hours.
In really big, strong wind, too.
Yeah, and I stood and walked around and guided and participated way more than I sat down. I sat down maybe 1/3 of the time. 2/3 of the time I was moving out. I wasn't grabbing and huffing boxes yet. I'm not there. But the difference is that, from me, the very first thing you do is pull out your chair and sit because you have to.
Right.
Versus I went the first 45 minutes before I even told Briggs, hey, grab my chair. I just need to get off my knees for a minute.
Right.
It is a huge difference. Then I went to you with Walmart, and for some reason, Minden has the biggest Walmart I've ever seen in my life.
Square footage wise, yes.
Huge. And it's not
ginormous.
There's places there's no shelves. They're still adding on to it.
Yeah.
And I haven't been around a grocery store probably in 4 or 5 years.
It's been a while.
And I told you, I said, I'm going to walk there with you. Give me a cart. Just let me lean on the cart, but I'm going to go. It's been 4 or 5 years.
been a
I
long
walked
time.
the entire store.
You did almost a lap because we had to go to the auto parts section. Was it when in the farthest corner,
Yeah.
and then walked along the back
Yep.
to the grocery section,
Yeah.
and then to the front. It was almost the
It really
whole-
was corner to corner to corner
Yes.
to corner. The only thing I couldn't do was when I was done is you went through checkout and I said, I just can't stand anymore.
Right.
And I went back outside and got in the truck. But I've never pushed myself that far. And I know this sounds dumb to people. This sounds like, oh, big deal. I walk all day. Well, yeah, I know. But you guys aren't me. You guys didn't let
These are
yourself.
like little wins every single
Yeah,
one.
these little victories are adding up for me. And then, going over to Sun Valley Fox's house, I didn't whip out my chair and sit in the garage, which is normally what I do. If we're going to do something in the garage, I grab my chair and I sit.
Yeah.
I never even pulled out my chair.
And even he noticed.
Never even. Yeah, he went out. He said, "Hey, you're jumping out of the truck. You're moving. You're getting stuff." I was opening up the back, grabbed my stuff, went back into the garage, stood up the whole time. It's just I've lost just enough weight and I've built up just enough stamina where now I can do stuff. Okay, go. Now that you can spend a few minutes, do it.
Yeah.
Because the weight is coming off. And If you guys know where the Fat Guy page is, you can keep track of the score. And some of you do. Some of you guys know the Fat Guy page, and I go in there every few days to try to and write stuff down. The bottom line is this. I had a running fat weight that I just hovered at for like the last, and let me back up. Being fat is a relatively new thing for me. I have not been fat my entire life.
No.
I have just gotten fat like these last 4 or 5 years. I put on the weight. It has not been, you look at pictures of me 6 years ago, I'll kick your ass. I was a whole different guy 6 years ago, but I let this happen over the last 4 or 5 years. So I'm still relatively new at this much weight. Okay. With that being said, I had a peak weight that I topped out at about 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. I have a running fat weight that I've kind of lived at. I got up to a certain amount of weight, and it was really fat, super fat, and I kind of just stayed there. Now,
yeah, and that caused all kinds. His knees were hurting. He was huffing and puffing.
It causes problems everywhere.
Fat.
There's nothing that it doesn't affect, I found out. Being fat just demolishes every part of your body, your organs, your muscles, your bone. I mean, it ruins everything. Being fat, it just tears you down on every level possible. All right.
It's like you carried around an extra person.
Oh, for sure. So my running weight, I'm now down 42 pounds.
Was it 42 or 40?
42, 43 pounds, right about there. My peak weight.
Don't come in here.
From my peak weight,
Camera's on.
I am down, from my peak weight, I'm down 83 pounds.
Yes.
Now, that was, that's not where I started from, like, I'm at my peak weight and I got to start there at my peak weight and work my way down. I had already come down from my peak weight to my running fat weight. So I don't really count that. I don't walk around going, I've lost 80 pounds. No, I kind of just lost the beginning 40 pounds, that just happened. But from the running weight that I struggled with to get down, I'm down about 42, 43 pounds right now.
And it makes a difference. Tell them what difference.
Well, it makes a difference in how I'm moving, how I'm eating, how I feel, how I'm walking. I can do more without thinking about it. I'm like, wow, I've been standing out here at the garage at my toolbox.
Puffing, I mean, everything was like a strain to do, and now you're just up and doing it.
Yeah, it's a huge, now this is the snowball effect that I would like. The snowball effect went down the wrong side of the hill, and I got fat. I got lazy. I ate poorly, and it snowballed into me being huge. Now I feel like the snowball effect is going the other way. Like, all right, I'm not that interested in sodas. I'm not interested in cookies. I don't care anymore. It just doesn't even cross my mind.
Right.
I walk into a gas station. I could buy Hostess zingers and shit. I walk around and I look for things that I can have, like a bar of peanuts or something. I don't care. And I do. And I get something like that, and I get some water, and I head out. I don't even care. It's snowballing in the right direction.
Yes.
That's what it feels like.
And his T-shirts are now getting big. They're like looking big on you.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I've had so many times when you put on a shirt and it stretches around my stomach. I'm like, God damn it.
I don't think that'll happen anymore.
So it is moving in a good direction. That's what we're trying for. And it's working so far. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's a deal. But yes, your brother did notice when I'm jumping out of the truck and moving around and grabbing things. He made a comment. He's like, look, dude, you're doing things you weren't normally doing.
Yeah, and they've seen the process because they saw you when we first started moving there. So in just a month and a half, that has changed.
Well, and the thing is too is that we've been going through dietary changes that have made me sick. I've eaten some things that made me sick to my stomach. I've eaten some things that kind of went right through me in 20 minutes. And I'm not saying that's a good way to lose weight as we're figuring out what I can have and what I can't have. Because there's been, in the last 10 days, everybody knows I've missed the show. I hurt so bad I missed the show one night. But I've been pushing through those things and learning. But in 10 days, because I've not been well, I've lost a ton of weight in 10 days. Now, I'm not saying...
Don't do that.
That's the thing you try to do is like, well, get sick and lose weight. No, I was getting sick just because we're trying to figure some stuff out. All right, well, that's unfortunate. But a good byproduct was it continued me losing weight. Why? Because I don't eat when I'm sick. If I'm, a whole day the other day, I had, 2 bananas. because I wasn't feeling well.
Yeah.
I couldn't eat anything else. Okay, well, 2 bananas and moving around. That was a good day for weight loss, even though that's unintended. That's not why I did it. But
right. It is true, the saying that you can't eat when you're in your 50s like you did in your 20s. For
Yeah.
sure. Isn't that a true statement?
It is.
I watched the kid eat. He's going to be 20 this year. And I look at him going, oh my gosh, back in those days, we were drinking big gulps.
You got metabolism for days.
We were eating, but you can't do that anymore.
The best part about where I'm at with all this is that I have no cravings.
That's good.
I don't care. It's been months, and it just doesn't even.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time you had a soda.
No, and I don't.
Even when you've taken a shot of whiskey, you haven't chased it, have you?
No, 2 times ago at your brother's house, we were at the Foxhole Studios, Sun Valley Foxhole Studios in Minden, and he was pouring me a few shots. I had a few shots of Pendleton. Not going to say no to Pendleton, and he'd poured me a Coke to chase it with. I think I took a sip after each shot.
You? I didn't.
But
I
mean,
didn't see you.
Then I have to go to St. Donna and say, here's 9/10 of your soda I didn't drink.
I think they were happy about that since,
I don't think St. Donna would have cared if I drank that and I threw away almost a full soda. I think she'd look at me and go, "Good for you. Glad you didn't drink it."
Yeah, way to go.
I don't think she's upset about the 60 cents more than she is about that it's healthier. So
right.
Everything's working out with that.
So let's talk about while we were in Nevada. We were supposed to do a quick turnaround trip, but what about the crazy wind?
Yeah.
We have a couple instances where we were unpacking and putting stuff in storage in 45 mile an hour per winds.
At least.
It had to whipping through
the storage. I couldn't believe it. And it's like I told the Sun Valley Fox, I'm standing there going, okay, this wind is enormous. The house we rented in Minden, it feels like it's coming off its foundation.
It breathes something awful.
The whole house expands and contracts. And I finally, the next day, the wind had been blowing that hard, that consistently for that long. I finally told the Sun Valley Fox, I said, dude, how often does this wind blow like this? This is insane. He just walks up and puts his hand on my shoulder and says, son, it blows this hard, this often, you won't even notice it anymore. I said, what? He goes, happens so often, you just get used to it. I went, I don't want to get used to it.
We have winds here in Bakersfield in Central California, but it doesn't last as long as it did.
It's our winds rival their winds it'll uproot trees here where we are.
Right.
But it always ends by midnight to 3 a.m. It dies down.
This was
Not
all
that.
night. This was almost 2 days.
Yeah, it was damn near 36 hours for sure of that constant. I couldn't believe it. I was like,
you didn't want to go out. You don't want to go out in it. We were at the storage unit. We were done for the day. We were fighting the wind to put stuff into the storage unit.
You just can't do it. Now, I did drive out to Dayton with the Sun Valley Fox, and it was blowing like crazy in Minden, and it was substantially less in Dayton. There was still wind. And there was a few gusts that hit me that were like, oh, shit, that's Minden wind, but it was substantially less in Dayton. So and that's just bare land. I'm thinking if we ever get some trees put up there and some windbreaks, we might fare the wind a little better than Minden and Gardnerville does. I don't know. It was tough. It was tough.
So with that, we couldn't drive home because...
No, I didn't know. I mean, I know you don't drive with a trailer, and I know you got to be careful driving. I've seen pictures. I've heard stories. Wind blows trailers over. I didn't know they shut the highway down.
I didn't either till I looked it up.
Yeah, they shut the highway down for snow. Say, okay, you got to have 4-wheel drive and chains, or you don't go. Or now it's so bad, the snow's so bad, nobody goes. But they do that with the wind. On the 395 heading south, they do that. Say, well, there's a wind advisory.
I didn't think you believed me.
I didn't believe you until you screenshot it and sent it to me. It says, the first one says, there's a wind advisory, everybody be careful. 2 hours later, it says, there's a wind advisory, campers and trailers should beware.
Right.
The next one says, campers and trailers don't drive on this. The next one says prohibited. You can't go.
Prohibited in big words.
Yeah, they put cops out there and they do not let you pass. They're like, no, dude, you can't go down here. But then some of the people that were caught, past that roadblock, they showed pictures online. People just stood on the side. They parked on the side of the road and the wind blew the trailer over just sitting there.
Holy
they weren't even driving. They pulled over. They stopped. They're in their truck waiting for the wind to die down. Gusts of 80 to 100 miles an hour come up, and it turns the trailer on its side, just sitting there. They weren't even driving.
So those of you that aren't in California, this is 395 that we're talking about that goes up over the Sierra Nevadas into Mammoth and over to the other side into Nevada. So you go up pretty high, 8,000, 9,000 feet, right?
I'm going to say 7. But
Okay, I thought it was. But it's whipping. Those are big canyons that those winds are whipping like crazy.
yeah, and you just get out across the plains and it's even worse. It's just bad. I didn't know they shut it down.
We were stuck in Nevada for a couple days.
Which was good because normally, as you guys following along for your dancing and listening pleasure, you know that driving up here, once we get to Nevada, that isn't rest for Gen X Mom. Because we don't have the right beds up there. She sleeps on the big sleepy couch, and she never rejuvenates. Well, this time I was determined. We took our bed up there with our mattress, and I said, I'm going to move the mattress every time. And she says, what do you mean? I
You're
said,
crazy.
I don't care. I can't watch her anymore suffer through this. So I said, we are going to pack up the mattress and box springs, wrap them up like you're supposed to, and we're taking them with us, putting it on the bed frame in Minden, take it home, put it on the bed frame in Bakersfield. And I don't care how hard it is a pain in the ass to move that California King heavy mattress up and down stairs. I don't care. Because guess what? She had the best night's sleep in Minden. She's got sleep last night. She's not going to spend 3 days recovering now. That was one of the key issues, and it's working.
Yes.
So I don't care how hard it is. That's got to happen every time.
Thank you. It does make a difference, but I just feel bad that we're hauling our mattress and box springs back and forth.
I don't care. It's not. I can't.
As long as we don't do it a lot.
I can't watch you suffer anymore. That was the bottom line. I said I can't do it.
It did make a difference.
So Briggs is on board. He goes, yeah. He goes, Mom, we can't let Mom suffer with this. Whatever it takes, let's just do it. So I came up with a plan. He helped move everything, and we're doing it every time. But it made such a difference. Just your facial expressions in Nevada. You know, you weren't fighting pain all day long from a bad night's sleep.
Yeah, and
it was huge.
Then driving home, we don't know what was going on. We couldn't go 395 again.
Yeah, too windy.
It was too windy, so we came up over 88, which is going up over the mountain pass, Carson Pass, into California.
Yeah,
which is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. But for me, it's a lot of winding, twisting.
The road's a good road, but it is windy.
Yes, and so if you're sitting in the car, you know, you're moving your back, and my back just
I noticed that unless I go super slow, the windy road for you, rocking you back and forth left to right, it's still gut muscles.
Yes.
It's still knee muscles. It's still you tense up every turn.
I don't have any core muscles anymore.
And after you do that for an hour, that weighs on you.
Yes.
So you did get a break though at the top of the pass.
Yes, because of your French connection.
We stopped at this one big turnout, let the dogs out, run around, give them some water, and we stretched for a minute.
It was a vista. It was pretty.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know what lake it was overlooking. Lake was way off in the distance, but it was sure nice.
I can't remember.
So as we're leaving, there's 4 guys. They look like hipsters. And I couldn't tell what they were doing. And then you said,
their 20, I'd say they're
for sure.
Early 20s.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably.
Early 20s.
Yeah, they were young.
And you said they have a flat tire because you spotted the tire being flat.
Yes.
So I drove
on a
by
little
them.
car. What was their car? It was
a little tiny, I don't know, a little tiny Chevy. So it was a little SUV, probably the smallest SUV you could have.
Yeah, like it was 4-door.
I don't know.
I think,
Doesn't
or whatever.
matter.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway, so we pulled up alongside and I rolled down the window. I said, you guys need any help with this? And they couldn't quite speak English. The one guy did. And he goes, oh, no, it's okay. But the guy had a scissor jack out.
He didn't know what to do.
And he already had it opened all the way. He opened the scissor jack as tall as it went. And then he was looking like, now, how do I get it under the car?
Yes.
And I said, all right. I put it in park. And I told you, I go, just give me a minute. I said, listen, can I help you with this? I can get this tire change in 4 minutes.
Right.
And the 3 guys were handing me stuff going, thank you, thank you, thank you. I went, just put that shit away. I said, do you have the wrench for the lugs? And they're collapsible they come with the car. It's collapsible. He didn't know how to open it. He was sitting there trying to open the wrench. I go, okay, just give me this piece. And Briggs came up and I said, hey, just pop open the trailer, grab our floor jack. We have a really good lightweight Dayton floor jack. And so he puts it under there And I was, again, just reiterating to Brigger, you get the jack under there in position, you break loose the lugs first, then you lift it up, then you finish the lugs, then you swap the tires, put the lugs on, lower it, tighten them down. And even, Briggs, just refreshing with Briggs. He's done it before, but it's always good to get him, to actually physically do it. So we knocked it out on the side of the road, got it done, and put everything back away. We were literally done in 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't very long.
And those guys were super appreciative. Turns out they were from France. They were on vacation. There was 4 of them. They were all early 20s. And just in talking to him, they couldn't believe how vast America was. He goes, I can drive forever without seeing a single house.
Right.
He goes, I can't believe how big America is. And, Curtis, up there on the 88, so I'm trying to educate him on, how big America is. And there's so many things to see. You can be in the mountains like this. Then there's the deserts and canyons.
Yeah.
And there's all the oceans on the East Coast. There's all the oceans on the West Coast. I mean, I was just going through some stuff. And that's just nature stuff, let alone the stuff we built as people.
Right.
And they just were overwhelmed. 2 of the guys, I don't think liked me. 2 of the guys gave me a weird look the whole time. 2 of the guys super appreciative.
They probably couldn't understand you.
Yeah, but I wasn't saying anything. I didn't have a bad tone.
No, but it was just like they had no idea what you were saying.
Yeah, I think the 2 of them were like, "Why are you helping us?" It's like, well, I'm not going to rob you. What am I going to do with francs? He's gonna.
Oh my gosh.
That's the French money, right? Is that francs?
I know, but they
Deutschmarks?
they have. Oh my goodness!
Zen dollar bills? I don't know.
I'm not even going there.
So, but the other 2 guys were super happy. They were very appreciative. And I said, look, dude, just go down. And I said, did you find the nail in your other tire? And he goes, yeah, we're going to go get it patched. And I said, no, you're not. They had a chunk missing out of the tire. I said, don't let someone patch this. You need a new tire.
I wonder if they hit some of the rocks. Remember, I kept pointing out when we were driving. I'm like, look at the rocks that have fallen off
there was
the mountain.
Yeah, there was.
And it was on. They were coming. They were behind us, I think, because they came up from behind us when they think. But I kept pointing to you, going, "Do you see these rocks?"
Yeah, there was a lot of avalanche stuff on the road.
Yeah,
when we drove
this time
over.
there was a lot. So
I didn't see anything fall, but we were there right after it fell. For sure. They might have, because it was in the road. I had a hard time going around it too. But yeah, whatever it was, I got him on the road. Briggs and I got him on the road, actually. And then I said, don't let someone charge you to fix this. Get another tire and, move on. Told him to go slow. So that was my good deed for the day.
Yes.
But again, I wouldn't have done that 6 months ago.
That's true.
I couldn't have. I wouldn't. I'm too fat. I would have been like, I'm not standing out there. I'm not getting a floor jack out. I'm not, because I bent over and torqued all the lugs down to make sure Briggs did it right. There's no way. Not a chance in hell.
You were out there without your wheelchair, didn't need it,
just
and everything.
Jumped out,
yes.
stood the whole time, did the thing, helped Brigger with the jack.
And you used to do that years ago. You'd pull off on the side of the road when we were driving if somebody needed help. That was just you.
You would almost get annoyed at how often I would help people.
Yes.
Because I did it all the time.
Yes.
Anytime someone's on the side of the road with the hood up, I'd stop. Anytime. And I haven't done that in years because I can't. I couldn't do it. Now I can. And it just seemed natural when I saw what they were doing. I'm like, fuck it. I'll handle this.
Okay. Hey, everyone, watch this. The blood pressure is going to rise. Ready?
Oh, for God's sake.
So who were you on the phone with texting before we went on the podcast?
Yeah, who
was it?
This is a problem.
Here it goes. Watch.
Chris Cuomo and
Listen
I have
to the
been
tone of the voice.
arguing all morning.
Here we go. Here we go.
We're arguing. First, it started out, he's like, we're talking about, Trump's plane. And because I saw a thing he posted on a short, or it's a couple
Who's
minutes.
he? Posted.
Chris Cuomo posted about, he goes, yep, Trump blew it with the plane. He accepted the plane. Everything's fucked up with the plane. This just exposes him and shows him and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, ah. And I went, okay, I got to say something. So at first I posted on his video, just as a person. And I wrote a couple paragraphs. And then I thought, well, he may not read this. He may have people that read this. Maybe he won't get it. So I screenshot my answers and I sent it right to his phone.
Oh, shit.
And the conversation
Shots fired.
is kind of like, I said, I don't give a shit about Trump's plane. He's like, but it's illegal and it's a gift and it's from a country that has killed Americans. And I said, okay. I said, first of all, it's a gift. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to fly it around and I'm going to donate it to the Trump library when we're done. So it goes back to the people. He's like, yeah, thanks for the plane, man. I'll fly it around a little bit. But he didn't not disclose it. All the problems I have with, Hunter Biden and, is we have to getting money and the Bidens getting money and senators getting money. We have to discover it. They don't tell you. You got to go figure it out and go, oh, and I told Chris this. I go, it's a big thing.
It's not
when these
hidden.
fucking guys go, I go, you can't say Trump hit it. He's like, hey, thanks for the plane. Yeah, I'm going to fly it around for a little bit and give it back. I also said to Chris, I said, look, man, in that culture, now I'm not an expert on their culture, but wouldn't it have been super offensive to not take the gift? I said, wouldn't it have pissed everybody off? Could that not have tainted the visit? Just fucking take the plane. Figure out what to do with it later, but don't say no. Don't be rude.
Right.
And Chris disagrees with me completely on this.
Well, I have a couple comments on that.
I'm not done yet.
Okay.
That was one.
I'm going to have to write it down so I don't forget
And
my
then
comments.
he says, we talked about, he's like, well, and we talked about Hunter and the Bidens. Then he talks about Ivanka Trump getting some patents from China ahead of everybody else, and Jared getting some favor. And I said, okay. And I told him, I go, here we go. Here we go. He goes, what do you mean? Here we go. Now, we're getting away from the part about Trump. Now we're talking about Hunter. And I'm guilty of this too. I told him I did this too. It wasn't just Chris, it was me. And now we're talking about Hunter and Joe. Now we're talking about Ivanka and Jared. Now the waters are getting muddy because who did what? Who got away
We're
with
pointing
what?
fingers
And I
again.
went, you know what? We're getting in the mud again with this, and now we're getting all convoluted. Weren't we talking about Trump? And I said, I'm guilty of this also. Let me back up. I don't give a shit. I don't care that Trump took the plane and told everybody, and he's going to donate. I don't care. I think that was a good thing. The other part of it was everyone is screaming about how, well, the Saudi Arabians and Qatar, they were part of 9/11 and they killed Americans, and how can you be friendly with killing Americans? And my comment to Chris on publicly, with the one I did publicly, as I said, yeah, we should hate Germany too. How about Japan? Fuck those guys. Let's turn on Japan right now. Fuck them. And Germany. We should call them up and go, you fucking guys and your Hitler regime and
Yeah.
you killed Americans and Jews. Fuck you guys. And the first thing everybody said, well, that was a long time ago. Different leaders, different politicians. And then what I say is, well, are these the same Saudi Arabia? Are these the same family even? Are they different princes, different families, same guys?
What's the statute of limitations?
I said, if Trump says, this is what I wrote, if Trump says it's time to move on, these are different leaders. And then I went back and listened to something Chris said on his show, on his episode. He goes, well, there is some workings. There's some way that I think it was Chris that said this, maybe it was a guest, said that the guy, the crown prince right now, was a low-level, distant person who knew about some of the atrocities. Like when that journalist was killed, they murdered him in Saudi Arabia. They fucked him, said, you wrote some shit about us and we're going to kill you. And they did. And everybody knew about it. They said, well, that guy he had to have known, this is, 8 years ago. Now he had to have been, well, okay, did he or didn't he? He certainly wasn't in charge. Could he say anything as the low level?
No, and maybe it bothered him at that moment. But
I don't
like
know.
you said, you couldn't.
But I
do
just
anything.
and this is the rest of the message that I was finishing typing. I haven't sent it to Chris yet. That I will as soon as the show's over. Is I said you got to realize that one of the problems I'm having with all this is I'll just tell you the gut feeling, and maybe I speak for other Americans and maybe I don't. But I wrote to Chris, please pay attention to what I'm just about to say. Please pay attention to what follows, and this is, I'm going to hit send. I said, I don't care that Trump got a plane. It doesn't bother me. Trump's donating the plane to, the people that were getting the plane when he's done with it. Here's your plane, goes in the presidential library, sell tickets and take tours like the Reagan library, like the Clinton library. I don't care. I said, all I know about Hunter and Biden is they got a bunch of cash. Did we get the cash back? Did they donate the cash to a charity? When Hunter was sitting on that board at Burisma getting all those millions of dollars,
make us some money?
did they take it and say, yeah, we're acknowledging it? Yeah. No, we had to go find it. And when they found it, they say, well, don't worry, we're giving it to the American people. I don't think so. I said, that's as far as I'm going with that topic. It doesn't sit right with me. Trump's does. I don't give a shit. It doesn't bother me at all. I think it was culturally the right thing to do. He told everybody about it. Donate it when we're done. Fine. I told him that I think it's time to move on. If Trump says to move on, he's the president. You're not. I'm not.
If this is going to help some world peace, why not?
It does. But maybe the guy sat down with Trump and said, hey, look, all the shit that my country did all those years ago, I wasn't part of it and I didn't agree with it. Maybe that was a closed door meeting and Trump said, cool, man,
We weren't there.
I'll take the plane and I'll figure some stuff out. Let's shake hands. Let's be buddies. Now the whole world's coming at Trump and saying, you can't do that. You're an asshole. We don't know what was said behind closed doors and he may not tell us. And I don't know that I have the right to know. That may be classified above my pay grade.
It's like mom and dad going in the bedroom discussing stuff. When you come back out, you're the child. You don't need to know.
You just tell them, hey, we're going to Disneyland this year, not Magic Mountain. And I don't need to tell you why. We're just going.
Exactly.
Okay. So I told Chris, that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
The third thing that I wrote was I said, this is the part that rubs Americans the wrong way. Now, I may be speaking for the rest of you guys, and I may not, but follow me on this. And this is the fight we are getting into right now that I think is going to have me on his show for a full hour. I'm guessing. I really feel that's what's next because we've talked about it.
All right.
I think we've arrived. I said, the left made America so uncomfortable. The last 4 years, especially, we had to be careful what we said because of woke, LGBTQ, Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movement. We had to be careful who was listening to jokes we told. Mm-hmm. We were walking on eggshells. We had to be careful what we said out loud in a Target. I said the left totally made us very uncomfortable living in our own country. And when it came time to vote, we just went, we're tired of this shit. We don't care anymore. We don't care if we're left, we're right, we're Republican, we're Democrat. We're tired of living uncomfortable. We're tired of all the rhetoric. And the whole time, Kamala Harris's campaign was hate Trump, Trump evil, Trump destroying the world, Trump Nazi. And that doesn't shock us anymore.
It's true.
15 years ago, that was like, oh my God, did you hear what they said about Trump? Now we don't care because that's all they say. And he lost the election. And guess what happens? As I told Chris, guess what happens now? This is a part that I explained to Chris in capital letters, so he got it. Now I'm going to call him today. Schumer, Pelosi, and the Democrats get out there and say, the tariff thing could cause a recession. Trump's dealings over in the Middle East could cause World War III. The things he are doing could crash our economy. Okay. All those statements are true. Mm-hmm. Democrats love pointing it out. Could the tariffs work well for us? Yeah, I guess they could. We don't know what's going to happen. No one does.
Right.
Do you ever hear a Democrat get out there and go, oh, Trump got done meeting with China. This could turn out very well for us. No.
You'll never hear that.
They don't. It could. They would have to admit, excuse me, Mr. Schumer, could these things also work out? Well, yeah, but I'm not telling
They're
you that.
doom and gloom. It's the doom and gloom party.
I pointed this out. I said, every time you guys come out and say something, this could be the worst thing ever. We tune out. We don't care.
It's white noise now.
You can't cry wolf.
Right.
Every day for 4 years or 5 years or 6 years and then have us, we don't listen anymore. You're right. It's white noise. I don't even care. As soon as you come out, we have breaking news. Things could turn bad. Okay. I'm looking out my window. I may listen, but I'm checking my phone messages. And I tried to tell Chris this. I said, all we hear is the possibility of the world ending. And we know that's a possibility. You guys never say, golly gee willikers, this could turn out really good. You never, ever say that. And again, you lost the election on the fact that we're just tired of everything being bad. We're tired of walking on eggshells, and we're tired of everything you say showing us the potential for disaster. We got it. Fuck.
Yeah.
How many times do you think that's going to be shocking? It's like watching a horror movie 30 times in a row. You're scared the first time.
Yeah.
But by the 10th time, you're like, yeah, I've seen this before.
I was just thinking about Californians. How many years have we heard the big ones coming? And we're all like, whatever.
And it just turns out to be where you're like, And I told Chris this. I said, I just don't care anymore. It's like, well, Trump this and Trump that in the Middle East. Like, yeah, but it could work out good. It sounded pretty good. There's a lot of good things I could visually see. I saw the F-16s escorting him in. That's new. I saw the purple carpet. That's new. I saw the prince greeting him on the tarmac. That's new. I saw him getting the award. That's new. And then when you listen to people try to spin it, well, yes, but, the country did bad. They were involved in 9/11. Yeah, these guys? I said, I just don't care anymore.
Why don't we just say they're on talking terms now? Why can't we even just make it so minimal that they're actually talking?
Well, that's what I said I told Chris, I said, if Trump says it's time to move on, maybe it is. There's stuff that goes on. I don't know, and you don't know.
Yeah, but he opened the door to speak to him.
So here we go with all these things. This is where Chris and I are really butting heads today. A little bit, we're past the friendship now. I mean, we're still friends, but now we're kind of cutting into each other a little bit
to see where everybody stands.
And this is the thing. This is the one unique quality I have in talking with people that have teams of researchers. Oh, they can pull up charts and graphs. They can pull up news articles. I can't. I don't have that many people helping me.
Right.
So when he got into that thing about, well, here's what Ivanka did, here's what Jared did, and I was going down the road of what I knew Trump did, or not Trump, I'm sorry, Hunter did and Biden did, and now he's going deep. Well, what about this? And I pulled back. This is the unique quality I have. I pull back and say, you know what? I'm not going to start digging in. I'm not going to spend 20 hours today digging into charts and graphs.
Right.
I'm not going to go down that road. I'm going to tell you from my gut how this feels. I think O.J. Simpson killed his wife. I don't care what the jury says. I think Hunter Biden kept all the cash he got. He didn't donate it to the Biden playground. He
snorted all that.
And I think that Trump, what he did is okay. These are my gut feelings.
Right.
I'm just going with them because this is the last line that I told Chris. I said, I really believe the American people aren't interested in digging down, because we can dig down to articles. We could spend hours a day reading articles, and we don't know if we're reading right-wing propaganda or left-wing propaganda. We don't know if what we're reading has been spun in a direction, so we just give up, and we go with our gut. And I'm telling you, I think what's going on in the Middle East with Trump is great.
Yep.
I think the plane was a good idea. I'm just going with my gut. I voted against the way the Democrats had made me feel for years about being careful what I said and did. And every chance I get, I'm looking optimistically that when, he starts in about the China thing. I got an article I have to read from Apple News from Chris about how, Chris said about the China thing. He says, well, his own team isn't happy with him. Okay, here we go. How do I know?
And how does he know?
How do you know? And even if you did talk to one of them, one guy, all the guys, and he says, well, look at the concessions China made. So I did start looking into that. And it looks like on the surface, the tariffs, we are way ahead right now. But if you read a little deeper, some of the things that China said they want to hold fast to, Trump said, okay, let's hold fast to those. We got 90 days to sort this out. Tariffs are good for us. We got 90 days to sort this out. Some of these demands China made, not so good for us. Well, what did the Democrats bring up? Well, China got the best of Trump. China got what they wanted. And I looked at it and I told Chris this. I go, dude, isn't this how the game is played?
Isn't this called negotiating?
You give a little, we give a little. You get a win, we get a win.
It's the art of the deal,
I don't understand how we're like in the fourth inning of a baseball game and he's calling the game already. Oh, lost that game.
It's a forfeit.
We lost to China because you can tell where this is going. It's all going to turn out bad. We're going to lose by 12 runs. We're going to go through all of our pitchers. This is not, I keep saying we're in the fourth inning. And I'm telling you that Trump is give and take. Every time he gives a little back, people go, oh, he caved.
Yes.
That's what Chris told me. He's caving. I went,
no, it's negotiating.
Is he, or is this just a give and take
right.
to bring them along slowly, to give a little bit to them, let them think things are going well, to get them where you want? Now, I think fundamentally, this is where Chris and I disagree. Because every time Trump does the little sidestep thing with China, well, I'll give you that. You gave them something? Well, you've obviously suck as a leader and you're losing out control of everything. I'm like, how come we can't just shut the fuck up, all of us, until it's over? Then you can look back, Monday morning quarterback this whole thing, and then pick it apart after it's done.
Right.
But right now, in the middle of the game, you're calling the game already? This is where we're butting heads because I can't go down the road of everything that was said by every person.
And
All
I can't do what ifs. There's
Right.
always what ifs. What if?
I can just pull back and go, looks good to me. What about these concessions
See?
he
What
gave
if?
China? I don't care. Let's see if we gain those back by the end of this conversation. It doesn't matter what we're doing right now. Let's see how it ends up. I'm just telling you that when you're asking me why I'm upset right now, I almost couldn't do the show today because I was in the middle of this thing with Chris, and Chris and I are still friends, and everything's still good. We're just now
We're hashing it out.
on
is
the
what-
professional level. We're cutting in we're beginning to cut.
Can I
deep.
make some comments now?
Go
about
ahead.
A couple things.
Yeah.
Didn't we go through this with Reagan and the Germany-Russia thing? When the Berlin Wall, people were like, how could we? How can we talk to Gorbachev? How can we do Germany and go in here? And I'm like, but
Yeah.
look what happened on the flip side. When all that negotiating and stuff went down, it all ended up, it all flushed out and everything was fine.
At the time when Reagan was agreeing to negotiate with Gorbachev, after all the other ones died, he went in and said, he got criticized all the time. You shouldn't be working with him. Don't give up anything.
That's right.
You're weak. And he's like, we have to give stuff up. They have to give stuff up too. But in the end, it all turned out good. This is just like when you go back to the Reagan economy. And Reagan took over from Carter, and it was 2 years of suck-ass economy as the ship got turned around. Mm-hmm. And all they did was pound it for 2 years. Look at prices, look at inflation, look at housing. You're fucking it all up. And Reagan kept saying, I'm turning things around.
Just give it time.
And by the end of the 4 years, what was his winning slogan? Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? If you are, vote for me. Anyone.
That's right.
In a landslide. Okay. That's what Trump's doing. This is going to get worse before it gets better. He's turning things around. Judge him at the end of it. Quit poking it apart right now.
Right. Exactly.
And it's funny when I talk to liberals now about the Reagan era and how it did turn around so well. They all say, well, he had Democratic advisors. He had liberal people pushing the buttons, helping him along. That's the only reason he was successful is because of Democrats. And I went, well, too bad they couldn't advise Carter the same way. There would have been no Reagan.
Damn.
Oops. Yeah. So
Damn.
You just got to look at things in context.
The other thing is that this plane, they're making it that it was a personal gift to Trump.
Wasn't it?
No, it's to the United States. It's a gift. The whole thing is that it's supposed to be a new Air Force One. It's a gift to the country. He's accepting it, but they're spinning it that it's a Trump personal gift.
It seemed like, well, I don't know.
That's how they're spinning it, and it's not. It's for the country.
Okay.
And my other flip is this. If Boeing would fucking get off their ass and build a fucking plane that should have been done.
That they've already been paid for.
Yeah, multiple years ago should have been completed.
Yeah.
We probably could have went, hey, thanks, but no thanks. We
just got a brand new plane.
But no, Boeing is sucking ass at building a plane, which is unbelievable.
The plane we're flying around for Air Force One, I think, is like 30 years old.
It is.
So, and yeah, Boeing's been paid to build two. They got $4 billion to build two.
Yeah, they're supposed to do Air Force One and Air Force Two.
And they
can't do one?
I don't care.
I'm just asking for one. Now they say they can't finish it till 2029 when Trump is done.
I don't care. I don't. Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe the plane is going to the country. Maybe that makes sense. Maybe they did. I don't care if they gave it to him personally and he turned around and personally gave it to us. Fine. I don't care about that. That doesn't bother me one little bit. He didn't hide it. He didn't go in there and insult them. He's like, thanks for the plane, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's just a gift.
Yeah.
It's a gift. The other thing is, what are we going to tell when we accepted the Statue of Liberty?
Can't do that. Yeah. Give it back.
Oh, well, we better give that back because, damn, we don't want to upset the French or,
Yeah, well,
it just
whatever.
makes me like,
Hey,
gosh.
We're not upsetting the French. I changed a Frenchman's tire. We're good with the French. We should add that to our list of negotiations and say when France gets pissed off about our tariffs, you do realize the general saved 4 stranded Frenchmen in the middle of the Sierra Nevada mountain range. Now, being the goodwill that the general has extended, let's talk tariffs. I think I've done my part.
Oh, my God.
I think I did good there.
Well, guess what? You won a bet.
I did win a bet. I did. Can you explain
Our
the bet?
very own Trippy Pineapple and Sammy Joe are having a boy,
Which I told you.
which I said was a girl.
And I said was
But
a
I
boy.
don't know if I shook on this bet or not. So
Okay, now you're just now you're going playground rules. Well, I didn't shake on it. I didn't double tap bomb on it. The bet was that you would do 3 laps around the studio naked if you lost, and you lost. So I will, if you really want
I could
to.
do that at 2:00 in the morning. There was no specific time.
No, there won't. Yeah, unless someone's got a recording running, there won't be anybody watching.
So I lost a bet.
You lost the bet. So 3 laps around the studio naked. Now, I'd prefer to be here.
Well,
You
then
know?
be here at 2 a.m.
Well, just tell me when. I will get my fat ass up and walk down here. I will absolutely do that. So
So I have something I want to bring up
Yeah.
because it may show up is when we were over at the Sun Valley Fox's house, Christine and Ben Matlock,
never lost a case.
got you this time,
No, I waited for you to say the name.
came over and you and Christine were having a meeting regarding Gen X
A
talks and stuff.
very important meeting.
And then Ben and I were eating dinner and we were just chit-chatting and talking. And he was like, how close are you guys to being here? And I said, we're super close, not much longer. And he goes, hey, what's Briggs going to do? Because he didn't know. Nobody had told him. And we were just chatting. I said, he's coming with us.
Well, because he thought he might be coming up here to go to school, too.
Right. And he goes, I said, he's coming with us. And he goes, really? He goes, what's he going to do? And I said, well, as far as I know, he's going to be looking for a job. And he goes, well, what's he looking into? I go, well, I'm not sure. I go, it's his choice. He has to work. I go, you'd have to ask him. I wasn't saying anything about it.
Right.
He goes, okay. And that was it. That was the conversation we had for Briggs.
Right.
And then I come to find out, I caught the end of it is that, right before we were leaving or Briggs was leaving to go, he cornered Ben, or Ben cornered Briggs.
Yeah.
And what was because Briggs came to you about
Briggs,
it.
I guess Ben went up to him and said, hey, are you interested in working, in a construction field, because Ben's pretty deep in those, especially the electrical part. Ben's got his own company and, that's his department of a big company he works with. And he said, you could start out as an apprentice electrician and, you could, even if you're just picking up trash and learning what tools are and learning how the jobs go, showing up at 5 a.m. on time and build your way into it. Now, Briggs is very interested in that. And I didn't talk to Ben about, hey, give my son a job. I didn't even know he was going to go talk to him. The only thing I want to do is talk to Ben and say, you kind of got him really excited about this. You're not going to say, oh, well, as soon as a job opens up in 3 years, I'll put you on the list. Because that's not what you led him to believe.
Right.
Now, did Ben just outright offer him a job? No, he did not. He didn't say, okay, well,
Report to work Monday.
report to work Monday and you're on. He didn't say that. But he also didn't say, over the next 2 years, something may open up. I kind of got to call Ben and go, look, you really got his hopes up now. He really is interested. What did you mean by that? And then that's just me talking as a dad.
Right.
Just kind of like before I go back to Briggs and say, hey, you should follow up with Ben. I kind of want to get man to man where he was going with that. Make sure that that's
Legit.
a legit gig, which with knowing Ben, I can't think it would be any other way.
I agree.
Ben is one of the most square guys you're ever going to meet.
Yeah, that's why he brought it up. I wasn't after going, hey, do you have a job available? I wasn't going that way.
But what's the one question I asked you
Which one?
about Ben's offer? I said, well, how much did he have to drink? Because if it was at the end of
It
the evening
wasn't.
and he'd had 12 shots of whiskey, well, guys say shit.
I know it wasn't. It was just over dinner. That's all that was happening. That's all that was
So
happening.
that's a good opportunity for Briggs, and he's brought it up so many times since then. I think he's just waiting to get this move done where he can drive over to Ben and knock on the door and go, when can I start,
Well,
please?
he told you, he mentioned it to me when we were walking into a gas station of all things.
Right.
He goes, I had a really good talk with Ben. Briggs is telling me all this, and he's genuinely excited. And if he can get into a trade,
Right.
how wonderful would that be?
Talking at the gas station about the gas station where you and Briggs were talking the day before. I went to that same gas station to fill up with gas, and that's the gas station where I ran into that nice lady who was moving
that's
from
right.
back east, and the gas station was packed, and I'm blocking traffic with the trailer, and we're doing stuff, and then this guy pulls up behind me, and he's like just impatiently waiting. Then he whips around the gas pump to try to
that's
grab
right.
another pump, and then he gets out of his truck and he runs over and stands in front of me. He goes, "Are you him?" I said, "What?" "Are you him?" I go, probably. He goes, you Gen X Talks. I said, yeah. And he's got his daughter in the truck, and he's like, this is the guy. I told you that there's other people that talk this way. This is the guy. And he goes, what are you doing up here? You live in Bakersfield. So he follows long enough to know where we live. And I said, well, we're planting our flag up here. I said, I got some property in Dayton. I rented a house in Minden while we build something. I said, he goes, how's that coming along? I go, well, I'm going to be stuck because I actually have to turn in and submit detailed house plans, and I don't know anybody that's got house plans. He whips out a business card and goes, that's all I do. I got a buddy who's got 95 house plans, and you can look at which one you want, purchase the plans from him. You don't got to look anywhere else. I'll take care of you. He hands me and I gave you the business card. I came right home and I said,
couldn't believe it.
I go, I think I have our house problem solved. This guy's got a bunch of houses to choose from. He didn't ask to build them.
Another affirmation of the reason we're going to Nevada.
He didn't ask to build them. He just said, I'll help you out. I'll get you the plans. And I told him about, Ben and everybody. He goes, yeah, just use these plans, turn them in and get going, man. Let's go. He's very happy. So I was glad to run into him.
You better call him this week.
I got to call him. Yeah, I got to.
Yeah, I'm going to get you. I'm going to find you that card at the bottom of my purse and figure it out.
And I did get recognized a lot in the airports we were at, a lot of the places we go. I'll tell you what. It
never fails.
I think I get recognized more in the Reno, Minden area
lately
than anywhere else.
Yeah. So we have a topic. I think we touched on this last week, but we want to bring this up again because on our way home, we had a long phone call with our older daughter, one of our daughters, the one married to a Marine. And this was brought up in our conversation that our daughter Jade and her boyfriend Jevin,
because we always give you Jade and Jevin updates.
Yes. Texted you. First, to start off as a text.
Well, hold on. Our one daughter called and goes, hey,
what's going on?
Did you do a podcast about Jade and Jevin? And I go, kinda.
We do it all the time.
Yeah, we do a talk. We give an update, but one was kind of heavy because I was so upset with what was going on. And she goes, yeah, she called me at 3 a.m.
That's right.
That she heard the podcast and she's pissed. Where do things stand now? No, before I make this an hour discussion.
Yeah, we don't have to make it an hour.
We did have a podcast called the Jade and Jevin Update where we spent about 30 minutes and I updated all of you on my feelings about this situation. I do not like that my daughter is wasting her life. I don't have anything against Jevin. I just don't think he's ever going to take her where she wants to be.
Right.
So I did the podcast. You and I did the podcast. Yes, Jade had contacted me and go, I can't believe what you said about me on that podcast. Jevin texted me for the first time in his career, and he goes, can't believe what you said about me on the podcast. You think if I'm working 5 or 6 days to take care of your daughter, you'd be a little more appreciative. To which, my reply in my head, the first thing that pops in is like, okay, this is the guy. If you're working 5 and 6 days a week, why are you living in that little tiny apartment? My daughter wants a house, even if you rent it. Why is there no refrigerator in the house? Why is my daughter
a working
refrigerator? Why is my daughter? I mean, these are the questions you want to have answers to. And I knew they were coming over in 2 days, both of them.
Right.
And I said, I talked to my daughter. I said, what? If either one of you have a problem, you're going to be here in 2 days. Come see me. I'll be here.
Face to face.
Let's talk it face to face. Let's hash it out. Told Jevin, let's talk about it like men.
Gen Xers do it face to face.
This is the way we do it. Just come talk to me. No, my daughter kept talking on the phone, and I go, what are you upset about exactly? Are you upset that I told everybody? Because I talk about you every podcast. She goes, no, I don't care that you told the whole world. She was genuinely upset. That's how I felt. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, to be fair, sweetheart, I love you, and this is how I feel. You know that I'm not happy.
A secret.
No, I don't think you're ever going to get off your ass and go to nursing school the way you've been telling everybody. I don't think you're ever going to get where you want to be. I don't think Jevin's ever going to marry you. I don't think you're ever going to even rent a little bit bigger house where you can have a dog, where you can have a child play in the backyard. I don't think any of those things that you want so badly are ever going to happen. And yes, I voiced them. And she's like, well, you haven't said that to me in a long time. I go, I quit telling you.
That's right.
I chose to quit telling you because it wasn't getting anywhere. And eventually you would stop coming around to me if every time you came around me, I bitched about your life. So yeah, I quit talking to you about it. I don't dump on you about that stuff.
There comes a time where we just have to, nothing's set in.
No, and I just said, I wouldn't even be bringing it up now, except you're coming to me going, right. I heard what you said on the radio. Okay. I still believe all those things. I didn't ask you to go listen to that show.
Right. So her sister we talked to her on the ride home, was asking, whatever happened with that.
Yeah, did it get sorted out? And I said, yeah, they came over. Jade has been over many times. She's hugged and kissed me many times. She's not upset that I put it out there on the podcast. She's upset. She thought I didn't feel that way anymore.
Right.
She thought I wasn't dwelling on it, and I am. It's my daughter, and I'm very upset. And when she brought it up, I went right back to points A, B, C, and D. And I said, I'm not happy with this stuff. You brought it up. Also, when they were over, everybody left to go to the storage unit except for Jevin. You were gone. Briggs was gone. All the kids were gone.
It was just you and him.
Just Jevin and I were here. And now
Opportunity presented
he
itself.
came up and shook my hand right when he got here.
Right.
I'm waiting. I'm looking at him going, okay, well, a little respect there, but waiting to see if you want to say anything about if it affected you so traumatically. Let's talk about it. You guys all left him and I alone for an hour. He never came out and spoke to me. Mm-hmm. He never said a word. And when Jade got back, she goes, well, did anything happen? I go, nope. He stayed in the house the whole time. So he obviously isn't, it either didn't bother him that much.
Right.
Or he doesn't want to come talk to me face to face. Now, for my conversation with my daughter in Nebraska, she says he chimes in when she's talking to her sister. He's in the background commenting the entire hour of the conversation. And I said, what? He doesn't do that with me.
He doesn't do that when he comes to our house.
No, or when I'm on the phone with
Right.
Jade. He's not in the background.
That we know of. Yeah.
No,
He doesn't make it
our other
verbally.
daughter says she can hear him.
Ah, okay.
She says, I can hear him. He runs up and comments on the phone like, yeah, this, and he goes back to the couch. Or he yells from the couch. He is part of the conversation when the sisters are talking.
All right.
And I said very clearly that doesn't happen when I'm on the phone. When I'm on the phone with Jade, he doesn't say shit. He doesn't comment from the couch. He doesn't comment from behind the phone. I've never heard him say a word in 3 years. I told my our Nebraska daughter, it's very different when I'm on the phone. And she goes, well, I can't get him to shut the fuck up. I want to talk to my sister, and he's chiming in with all these things. I go, well, he doesn't chime in with me. It didn't bother him enough to where he came and said anything. Right. And I don't feel any differently about Jevin. I am thankful that he gives up a day off to come help, but I pay him.
Exactly.
I give them money. It's not like they're just coming. Some of my kids would come over and just help because we're family.
Right.
Some of my kids come over and, take the money, and because it just depends on where you're at in life. If you need the money, they take it. Some of my kids are financially okay, and I offer them money. They say, no, thank you, Dad. I did it because we're family. But Jevin and Jade take the money. And I gave them a refrigerator, and he said no, he didn't want it.
I know, that blows my mind.
So I don't,
We're giving him a free. Let me rephrase that: a free refrigerator, working refrigerator, and he said no.
So I still have problems with Jevin on how I don't think he's taking care of my daughter the way I would want. But he's not abusive to her. He doesn't ever do anything wrong.
And that's a dad's prerogative. You have every right to feel the way you do.
Right. I think Jevin, if he had come to me and said, you can feel whatever way you want, I don't like that you tell everybody. And I would say, well, you're entitled to your opinion. Sorry if it bothers you, don't listen. I wouldn't stop talking about it. It's my family. It's my show. However, that would be a valid point for him to come up and say that part bothers me. But he didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want to discuss it. So I didn't bring it up either. I don't think any less or any more of him for not talking. Maybe the best move was just let it go.
Yep.
But don't text me and challenge me and then expect me not to reply.
And now this cannot go on any farther because the opportunity presented itself for you guys to talk about it. He chose not to, so that's it.
They're coming
We're
out.
done.
They're coming out in 3 days to help on Monday again. Don't bring it up then.
Yeah, it's over.
I mean, if he
and done
does,
with.
he does. But it just that became a big issue in our family for about 8 seconds until I squashed it and said, "Here's how I feel."
So let's round out the problem. Do you have a car story this week by chance? Did you think of one?
Did you think about that?
I'm sure you did. Or you have, whichever.
I wrote something. Something popped into my head, and I just can't.
You can't think of it?
What did I write a note down? I thought of something.
Yes, you did.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Holy
okay.
Santa Claus shit.
I want to tell a pre-story to the story about a car story.
Excuse me?
Pre-story.
A prequel?
A prequel. Yes. So if you
I don't like prequels.
What? You don't like the Star Wars prequels.
I don't at all.
So if you're
should have started with that.
If you get a large Coke from McDonald's and you go to some people smack the straw to poke it through, get the wrapper off the straw and everything's good. Sometimes you bend the straw.
Yes.
And if you poke a hole in the straw where you bent it, you can only drink down the Coke halfway.
Yeah.
Because when the level of the Coke gets down past the hole, now when you suck the Coke out, you get air and you're done.
I hate when that happens.
You hate sucking air? Okay, so that's the premise.
Okay.
And I had this guy, a friend of mine. He's working on this truck. It was an old, I think it was an old late 60s or early 70s Chevy pickup truck. And I go over to his house one day, and it's on a Saturday, and he is just in his driveway. This truck is smoking out the tailpipe. I mean, to where I'm like, dude, this is so bad, someone's going to call the police.
Oh my God.
It was covering the entire neighborhood. It was covering houses on both sides of the street. I go, dude, you got to stop. It'd be different if the wind was blowing a little bit. You could clear it out, but this was just a still day. And he goes, God damn it, this is what happens. I can drive this thing all over town. It runs great. The transmission shifts great. Everything's perfect, but I'm fogging mosquitoes as I go down the road.
Fogging mosquitoes.
This thing, and we drove it, and it literally, you go down the freeway, and this thing, people behind you have to slow down to 10 miles an hour because you can't see where you're going.
Oh my gosh.
He goes, and then all of a sudden the smoke stops and everything's running great, but my transmission won't shift.
Oh, shit.
He goes, I have to tow it home. He goes, it won't drive. I can put it in drive and it won't go.
So as long as the smoke's going, we're good.
Yeah.
As soon as the smoke stops.
Yeah, and it is incredibly bad.
Okay.
And remember, this is young in my career of working on cars. As you're a mechanic, a regular mechanic knows exactly what's going on. But in my youth, we're trying to figure this out. And I said, well, how do you get your transmission going again? He goes, got to fill it back up with 5 quarts of transmission fluid. I said, well, are you leaking it out? He goes, there's no leaks anywhere. So I crawled under it, no leaks. So now we're in his driveway, and we drove it around, and it was fine. I think it was the next weekend or the weekend after. He called me, he goes, come over now. So we go over there, and the smoke is just beginning to quit. I got there, he fired it up, and it's still smoking, but not bad. But once we let it run for like half an hour in the driveway, the smoke went away. I got in it, couldn't put it in gear.
Wow.
Automatic transmission, couldn't put it in gear, couldn't drive. I go, this is the weirdest thing ever. Turns out, what it ends up being is there is a vacuum line from the engine. The engine pulls vacuum, like constant sucking motion from your engine. That's manifold vacuum, happens all the time on every car. And there's a vacuum hose that runs down to for lack of a better word, it's a little shift valve on the transmission, and it just pulls. That's all it does is pull. In fact, if you pull the hose off in your hand and put your thumb over the hose while the engine's running, you can feel the vacuum from the engine. Okay, I get how this works.
Okay.
And you plug it back into the little lever, to the little solenoid, to the little brass mechanism. You plug it back in, and everything's fine.
Okay.
The problem was that mechanism got a little tiny hole in it from one side to the other, and it began to suck the transmission fluid down, just like you're drinking a Coke with a hole in the straw. Doesn't matter, didn't care. Everything was fine. And it was sucking the transmission fluid out, burning it in the engine just like gas. Ugh. So you're burning on all 8 cylinders.
Well, that's why it wasn't dripping.
Wasn't dripping. Yeah, it was burning it. And that's why we were fogging mosquitoes until that little hose sucked out all the transmission fluid. There was no more transmission fluid to suck.
Shift.
The smoke finally went away, but now you can't shift because there's no more fluid. Now, I'm telling you, we took forever as kids to figure that thing out. We couldn't figure it out to save our lives.
I could understand.
Now when you get a little bit older, and that's a common thing and everybody knows about it. But when you're young and you're like, God damn it, what is going in your mind? You're thinking this cannot be possible, where we knew somehow, we figured out somehow the engine was burning the fluid because the fluid was leaving and the engine was smoking.
Yeah, if you had to fill it up, it was going somewhere.
And we just couldn't figure, we're trying to figure how would one go to the other? And it never occurred to us like, well, there's a vacuum line that goes right to the engine. Yes, but there's no fluid in that. We know that. There's no fluid in there. It goes a little module on the side. Come on. And then you learn that those can go bad. And so, yeah, there's a story of you can drive it down the road. I think it was a 70 pickup. You can drive it down the road and it runs and shifts perfect, but you're fogging mosquitoes for days. You put out so much smoke, you could hide the Royal Air Force in that smoke.
Oh, my God.
And then when the smoke clears, you're good to go. You just can't drive anywhere. And I know
crazy.
there's people that already knew the answer before I got to it. But yeah, that was a story from our youth that we took forever trying to figure out. And I mean, you pull the transmission out. You're on the ground as a kid. You're up at 2 a.m, scratching your head, trying to figure it out. You can't figure out what's going on. And I think it was actually an old timer that said, change the module. And I'm like, what the fuck good is that going to do? He's like, it's got a hole in the diaphragm, sucking all the fluid out. If I remember right, an old guy told us what to do, and we was like, fuck it, let's just try it.
And it worked.
There we go. Down the road motors you went.
Wisdom.
I don't know, just one of those dumb things. But as you're a kid, you literally fill it up with transmission. And we're out there like, okay, fill it up with 3 quarts.
Oh, my God.
Can 3 quarts, it like smokes a little, but drives a little. It smokes a little, but the transmission shifts kind of sloppy. It's like, well, you're trying to find that balance.
Problem solving.
Yeah, you're trying to find the balance when all you need to do is just do the job right. So I left out a lot of the trial and error, but we finally got it as kids. But that was a deal from a long time ago.
All right, another podcast in the books.
I think it is.
I think we are good.
I don't think it was as interesting as I don't think it was.
I thought we kept it going and flowing and what was on our minds today and this last week.
But we spent a long time about the build up with Chris Cuomo and what's coming.
Because you needed a vent.
It's coming today.
Oh,
it's going to be a gig
I'm
today.
leaving.
I don't know.
I guess the people. Some people heard it live today. The podcast. I was because we're going to hear more tonight on the live stream.
Yeah.
But
guess who's not getting invited back to New York after today? This guy.
we will have to see. We will have to see. So.
All right. Well, there you go. How long have we been on?
I'm going to say an hour. I don't think it was a half. Hour 22.
In 30 seconds, you will be right. Yep.
I didn't feel like we were an hour and a half. I was like, okay. Wow, that was pretty good.
Well, say goodnight, Gracie. We'll
Good night,
continue with
Gracie.
the exit. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening to the Gen X Hawks podcast, 200 feet below occupied California. Not sure where you're listening in from, AM, FM, Sirius XM, or perhaps you tuned in on the Armed Service Radio Network. Remember 2 things in life. Number 1, wherever you go, there you are. And number 2, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. I'm out, baby. You're mocking me, aren't you?
Life is a wild way you roll. Don't tell you where it goes. Nobody really knows, and it doesn't really matter now. Now we talking a side, chasing. It's free, but it's real.